These are your adventures as you explore, seeking out new life and civilizations, expanding your borders and exploiting the resources you find, befriending allies, or exterminating the foes that get in your way.
Contact detected entering sector. Configuration unknown. Assessing. Initiating countermeasures.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Star Trek New Worlds. Coming to you live today at 11 o'clock, Saturday on the Pacific Coast, and whatever wonderful time it is at your local. If you're catching us on the replay, then thank you for taking the time. And for those of you who are new here, you're probably wondering what in the world Star Trek New Worlds is. It is a turn-based strategy game that we play here online with you today on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. And we play this game inspired by the rule set of Federation Empire as published by the Amarillo Design Bureau. The maps you will see here shortly are created through the magic of Vassal, and our players are populated through our amazing community. If you are so inclined to be part of that community, you can be like Dan McLeod there, no relation to Connor, and head over to, let's try that again. You can be like Dan, hit the subscribe button, be part of our community here, or you can head over to coffee.com, either that QR code between me and the chat and or that link down below, and you can head over there and grab one of the tiers of coffee. That coffee in Discord will take you to our Discord channel, and you can participate there with us after the fact of this live stream and partake in the bitter banter, the back and forth, and the witty repartee, discussing all things Star Trek strategy and, to be fair, the drama that goes on behind the scenes. Today, we're going to be talking about AI? Alien AI? What? Yes, that's right. It seems that in the New Horizons campaign, one of 3 that we have going on concurrently at the moment, the New Horizons campaign, one faction has encountered an unknown, non-player faction. What? What is this you're saying? Yes, it would seem as though there is an unknown opponent, perhaps in the game. An alien AI that hasn't been encountered by at least one player. And we will discuss that interaction here shortly. As well, there are other players in this game that are in the midst of first contact. We'll dive into that. And we'll chitter-chat, go back and forth with our various patrons and participants in the chat. Let me see here. I'm noticing that my chat on YouTube isn't showing what's in the chat window. Weird that may be. Let's pop out that chat and restore the chat. Maybe it'll start playing nice. Interesting. I'm just going to have to read it from the screen. So Eugene, our public affairs officer, marketeer extraordinaire, he says, what news is there this week? Federation makes contact. Klingons warn of mystery contact. Who are they? What are their intentions? And what resources and planets have been discovered? Who tops the EP charts? Oh, I know you've been waiting for the top 100. And ladies and gentlemen, Casey Kasem will bring it to you here shortly in a memento. Let me not hold you back from the exciting and delighting news. Let's slide right over there now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the New Horizons campaign. And as you can see here with this color-coded chart, we have the latest and greatest stats on who is riding atop the EP scales. You can see here that definitely at the bottom of the barrel, yet the top of the list, is the Borak at a measly, palsy 35 EP. The king of the castle, the ruler of the roost, is the Klingons, shortly followed. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, a coffee has been fired our way. Interesting. I got the coffee. I missed Eugene's post. I don't know what that's all about. Anyways, I see it here. Fired from Tholia. Oh, yes. Those crusty, mineralistic folks sending us a blast of caffeinated goodness. Want to keep us stimulated, huh? Well, let me show you. I'm going to take a quick sip right now. That's right. So you too can send a one-time photon of stimulated goodness our way. Coffee, one time, or you can join us at the Coffee and Discord tier, like I say, and join us on the Discord channel after this live stream. All right, so we got the Klingons at 60.5, the Carnivons at 60. Those two going neck and neck for who's the leader of the pack. Federation following 10 EP behind, essentially at 51.5. And then the pack really starts to thicken out. We've got the Kzinti at 46, Paravians at 44, Lyrans 43.5, Hydrants 42.5, Tholians at 38, and the ISC just ahead of the Borak at 36.5. That's right. It's quite an elaborate collection. There we are. Collection of folks as they are working their way up the EP ladder. Let's not hold back. Let's dive into that coffee stimulating player, the Tholians. Here we go. All right, you can see here we've got the Tholian map on the board. Now, we talked about EP, but I'll just verify everything as we go through the EP and fleet cap numbers. Okay, we can see the EP here is 38 for the Tholians, and the fleet cap number, I think I might have said fleet. Okay, so EP is 38, and the fleet cap number, if I find a spot for it here, is floating at 39 ship equivalents, 60 attack, 168 on the defense. And you'll notice that the defense factor of 168 quite a bit further apart from the fleet cap of 196. Well, what is going on there? Let's just quickly take away the ships and you can see the bases in play. We've got a couple of a YBS, it would seem, up here in the midst of being created. One sitting over a two-way wormhole. Ooh. A couple other bases pattered around. And then, of course, we've got the Gorn faction, which they are friendly with, over in the bottom left of their map. Bringing back the ships, what is this thing over in the corner? It would seem there is a very unhappy cloud there. I don't know if you can see that, folks, but it is a cloud with a sad face. It would seem that the Tholians have somehow made unhappy a gaseous anomaly, and they're going to have to deal with it. In all honesty, it is a monster, and that's just a counter, so we'll have to see what the monster is. Perhaps they've identified it as a cloud, and that's sort of where we're going with that. All right, so let's see. What do they have in the neighborhood? It looks like their first and third fleets are identified as survey fleets, so I imagine there's nothing there. We've got a large exploration freighter with a destroyer escort. There's a second one there in third fleet. Home and 6 are nearby. Let's see if Home has anything to say about it. Oh, a little bit more. Here we go. Home fleet, you can see, has two cruisers, a destroyer, a YPC, and a commando ship. That's right here over the planet of Quark. Will they have enough juice in the tank to be able to deal with the cloud? Who knows? Perhaps the Tholians also have something in 6th Fleet. Oh, unfortunately, not so much. We've got tugs, essentially 3 YCPCs, which act as a tug, and then a large exploration freighter with a destroyer escort. So, when it comes to military prowess, the Tholians are perhaps not the leader of the pack, but they have what they have in the neighborhood to be able to investigate and deal with this cloud. I wonder what it's going to be, what's going to happen, and how they're going to interact with and resolve this problematic, troublesome little monster. You can see it's really close to the convoys and, of course, their exploration fleets. So if it does move in such a direction, 50-50 chance here, into one of those hexes, there is a chance that the Tholians might lose something of value. Exploration freighters, convoy, which would you prefer to lose? Let me know. All right, let's roll into the next player on the map. Ooh, we went from our first fire of coffee to the drinker of blood wine themselves. This is the Klingon player. And wow, let's take a look at the EP and fleet cap just to verify we have it all right. 60.5 is the number. Fleet cap, let's see what they're floating at. Okay, 38 total ships with an 89 attack and 191 defense. Interesting to note, that 191, very similar to the 190 we were looking at with the Tholians. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it 193? 196. So 196 is the fleet cap for the Tholians, and the Klingons have 191. So interesting, much larger footprint for the Klingons, but not much more in the way of ships. As we said, the Tholians had 39 ships in play, 38 for the Klingons. Interesting. All right, let's close this out, and let's dive in a little bit and see what's going on. Okay, let's do a quick perimeter check. You can see we've got exploration fleets and a random cruiser doing some exploration on the fringes. Small exploration freighter right here. And as always been the play, we see a large concentration of ships pushing to the east. They have a couple fleets here, perhaps providing security for these unprotected freighters, vulnerable, tantalizing targets, though they may be. And of course, we have a convoy here with a YBS. Looks like that YBS is in the midst of being completed, perhaps. 88 fall versus 88 spring. This one is being completed in 88 spring, so it looks like that base will be completed maybe, if it hasn't been already, will be completed next turn. It must already. Interesting. Just looking at the supply, I was looking here, 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a tug here maybe providing extended supply, but that wouldn't explain this guy here. So either this base is already complete and providing supply to the surrounding area, and the tag just not removed, or we'll have to see. We will have to see. Okay, so we've got an array, a constellation, you might say, of exploration ships doing their thing on the fringes of Klingon space. What do we have in the south? Looks like a little bit more activity. A couple more, another large exploration freighter and a tug finishing off a base. What do we have down here? We've got Red Fleet picking out a new resource. Another convoy prepped and ready, perhaps, to build another base. And then more exploration going on in the south. Battle Group Blood and North Fleet. What's going on there? Klingon, BG Blood. Battle Group Blood. Okay, that's nothing big. Just a cruiser and a destroyer. Granted, Klingon destroyers are pretty good. North Fleet, let's see. North. I'm trying to remember which one North Fleet's in. There we are. North Fleet. So North Fleet's an exploration fleet. You see a survey D4E. That's a Y-era exploration or survey ship. And it's got a prime team embarked. And then Red Fleet. I imagine that's where the big guns are. That's right. We'll go to Duras with the Red Fleet. Oh, no, that's totally wrong. It's another exploration fleet. The D3 is the W era, or the earliest era tech for the Klingons in this game. And, of course, you've got that with a Dagger team or Prime team doing some exploration. Okay, so predominantly exploration here, exploration on the east coast right here. The north, a little less of the smattering, and then ever so small amounts of it on the west. So what does that tell us? As we've talked about before, I am always fascinated and thinking about where all these players are on the map. So if you imagine a map as a rectangle of sorts, and you look at the exploration pattern, I take away the ships here, and you can see where their capital is. And I'll zoom out just so make it a little bit easier to see. So their capital is located in the upper left, and they are expanding to the right and to the bottom right. So that would tend to suggest, perhaps, that they are in the top left of the map. The question is, based on how much they've expanded, how big their economy is, Let's just look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They've gone 15 hexes to their east, and they have yet to encounter anybody. How much further will they have to go? In previous games, for frame of reference, somewhere between 6 and 8 hexes was the magic distance where you might bump into somebody. This is way beyond that, and they still haven't bumped into anybody. I wonder why. Now, we do these live streams every week. Is there a player who's watching these live streams who is perhaps not sharing their map and is playing cat and mouse on the other end? Is he working his jaws around the needle point that is the Klingon exploration fleet? I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah. Okay. Well, it'll be very interesting to see when they do encounter somebody, what is going to happen. But of course, we were talking about first contact. Let's roll our way closer to those players. Now we're talking about the Lyran faction in the game. Let's confirm their EP. They are sitting at 43.5. Does that tie in with our table? Let's see here. Lyran's 43.5. That's right. All right, so the Lyran's at 43.5. Their fleet cap, as we pull it up, is at 25 ship equivalents, 54 attack, 128 defense, matching their fleet cap. So they no crippled ships in their fleet. Take away the ships real quick, and you can see the lima bean pancake style formation of their exploration. Very interesting to note. A little bit further on the east than the west, but nonetheless, there is a flattening exploration pattern in play. Interesting to note. We pull back the ships, and you can see the concentration of their ships and exploration. So let's zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see. On the east side, you can see a concentration of exploration survey ships, YSR and WSR's respective. Y being the second tier, W being the first tier of technology that everyone starts off at, and then SR for the Lyrans being their survey ship. So 3 of them concentrated on the east, pushing further east. As we go further to the west, you can see a small exploration freighter paired with a YSR going south, a YSR going north, and as we further go to the middle of the pack, we can see here small exploration freighter, 2 of them with a YSR pushing north, and on the very edge, western edge of their territory, a WSR pushing to the west, and that's it. So very clearly, there is a emphasis, a concentration, you will, of going north and going east versus going west. I was thinking that the Lyrans were sort of at the bottom of the map, perhaps center mass, but if this is anything to go by, maybe they're not. I don't know. It's kind of curious. Interesting. But again, all these ships going out, let's count how many hexes they are out at the extreme. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 hexes out from their capital, and still they have yet to bump into anybody. Like I said, in previous games, 6 to 8 was that magic number. How is that going to play out in this game? I didn't do this one. Okay, so let's roll into this player. It is the ISC. Let's zoom in and get a better look at what's going on here. Pull up the EP and fleet cap. You can see that the EP, the ISC are at 36 even. Interesting to note, I had the ISC at 36.5. Perhaps there is no trade route in play. So showing 36 on their player board, and their fleet cap is a total of 18 ships, 46 attack, 100 defense with a 105 fleet cap. Makes me think there might be a crippled ship or 2 in the mix. What can we see here? We've got, some combat has occurred. So Romulan player up in the corner here. Notice as I take away the bases, They are at war with the Hydrants. Notice there are 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 SIDS, Starbase Incremental Damage System increments done to this YDK. Once it hits 4, it gets crippled. So obviously there has been some combat going on. Let's take a look at the minor fleet. That is the Romulans. You can see here they have a whole ton, 5 of them, crippled YFFs, or sorry, snipes, Y-era frigates for them. They still have a non-crippled frigate, 3 destroyers or hawks, a Y Warbird, which is their cruiser, and a command cruiser, the Kingbird. So they've still got a good fleet there, but they've certainly been dealing with some attacks. Let's see what we've got. The ISC home fleet, I would imagine, is the... Ooh, looks like the ISC has taken some damage. Crippled cruiser, crippled light cruiser, but a CC in play. Interesting. I don't see any other fleets. Let's take a look at Destiny fleet, just in case that's where they are sneaking. Named echelons. So named echelons, you can see here, this is Destiny with 1 destroyer and a research and development team sitting on this YBS. So there very clearly was a battle that was fought. It would seem as though the ISC were not successful in that battle. But keep in mind, they also have a DN. They have the best DN, YDN anyway, in the game. It's a 7 attack, 9 defense ship. They have a cruiser, a 4-7, a CC command cruiser at a 4-7. And of course, they have their home fleet, which has another command cruiser, another cruiser, though crippled, and a light cruiser. Those 6 ships alone could cause lots of havoc and damage for the Romulans. We'll have to see how that plays out in the turns to come. But very clearly, the ISC are at war status, and they are engaging in, or perhaps limited war status. They are limited war status, and they are engaged in conflict with the Romulan faction. How long will it take for them to wipe clean the scourge of the pointy-eared, passionate folks known as Romulans? I don't know. We'll have to see. Where's the Fed YFF? Robin says. I don't know. All right, rolling into the Feds. Speaking of the Federation, let's see what we've got. Let's take a look at the numbers. We've got, from an EP perspective, 51.5, tying in exactly with what we showed before. The fleet cap is a 38 total number of ships, 59 attack, 130 defense with a 141 fleet cap. Would seem there might be a crippled ship or 2 in the mix. I can see a couple crippled ships, whole bunch, 4 crippled frigates down here by this YBS. What is going on with the Federation? Let's zoom in and see if we can find out. All right, let's roll over to let's take away the ships for a second, and we can see the concentration, their capital in the right of their map, and exploring certainly to the west. So center mass of their empire is to the east, exploring hard. Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, a coffee has been fired by Robin J, the Federation player, it would seem. Take a quick sip. Today's coffee goodness is brought to you by the custom patent pending coffee generation machine. You can see this here. Pressed to perfection with the baby bodies of Hydran workers. Hydran coffee is the best coffee, or so I've been told. Oh, that squiddy ink never tasted so good. All right, so let's roll in here. We can see on the west side. Can I do it? I don't know if I can do it. West side? Anyways, terrible reference, Tony. Okay. We've pulled the ships back up, and what do we got? We got some tugs floating around. You can see that up here to the extreme west, and a convoy down here. We've got the 8th Fleet. Let's take a look. I got a feeling that these fleets, 9th and 6th, by example, 69, very good pairing, are just as I expected, a survey ship with a frigate escort. So that's 9th Fleet. We'll put that down here just to get it out of the way. And I will pull up 6th Fleet, which I imagine is the same. It is, ladies and gentlemen, exactly the same. I'll just put it this way so it's actually 69. Maybe looks a little bit better for those of us who have perhaps a less tidy mind. And Federation's 7th Fleet, again in that neck of the woods, also an exploration cruiser, but with a crippled frigate. So what happened with this 7th Fleet that they encountered and have cripples? Very clearly, the Federation are engaged in some kind of tete-a-tete with something or someone with 4 frigates crippled. What is going... Don't drink hydrant creamer, Matt says. Oh, my goodness. Yes, we won't go down that delectable road. All right, so let's see here. We've got a bunch of exploration fleets. Home Fleet is in the woods, shall we say. I have a feeling Home Fleet is not. Yeah, look at that. Home Fleet. A bunch of crippled light cruisers. Interesting. So let's ask that question and maybe we'll get an answer. What happened that a whole bunch of light cruisers and frigates got crippled? Who'd you fight? What was the result? And tell us the story. Robin says, had to remove an oppressive government from the people of Tuon. So let's take away the ships real quick and we can find right here, there is this planet that is devastated, hence the Ox 0. For your edification, when we take a planet unwillingly, and we do that through military means, we devastate the planet. Devastated is a term to describe, we economically and physically devastate the planet. You will get 1 EP from that planet, unless it is a medium or a minor, or a medium or a major, in which you'll get 2. So you get 1 or 2 EP respectively from the planet. You have 10 turns while that planet slowly recovers, and then they will have 4 turns of recovery. And all that means is that the building of industrial infrastructure has started. It will take 4 turns, or 2 years in this game, for that capacity to come back. And then once that's back, you are fully functional as far as a planet and its resource capacity goes. The difference between devastated for that 10 turns and recovery for that 4 turns is during recovery, the planet is a source of supply. Prior to that, during devastation, it is not. After that, or during the recovery phase, it is. So it may not be providing you the maximum amount of economic output during recovery, but it is a supply point that you can use. Hospital ships, which is something that the Federation will certainly have access to, can speed this up by reducing it essentially by half. For every turn you're using the hospital mission for hospital ship, it can recover an extra turn of recovery. So if you are playing your cards right, you'll have 10 turns or 5 years at devastation, and as quick as 1 year or 2 turns in recovery. So you could get it all back in 12 turns, but 14 if you take no action. So that's how that goes. So it looks like the Federation has devastated the planet of Tuon. What were they, by the way, Robin? What faction of people were they that you devastated? There is a hospital ship's station to help the people recover, he says. Oh, see, the Federation are nice. Yes, we can see that there is a YCH, which is a Y-era hospital ship. The Vudar, always the Vudar, it seems, he says. Okay, so the Vudar were on the planet of Tuon. He had to decimate and destroy them, and of course, redeploy his crippled ships to various places like the YDK for repair and recovery. So you saw it here first, the Federation first to draw blood, and certainly not the peacekeepers we thought they were. Right, on the bottom of the fleet, or the bottom of the map, we can see 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Fleet, pretty much guessing, educated guess. Yes, we have survey ships with frigate escorts conducting exploration in the south. We have, interesting to note here, a YBS with an R&D team doing wormhole research, but there's a theater transport with 3 EP in it. What's going on, Robin? Tell me what's going on. Tony missed the stack of cripples on the Tholian homeworld. We'll have to go back to that and check that out. Little ASMR here for everybody. Enjoy. Okay, let's roll into what we got. We got the Gorn. Wadieb. This is sort of the Gorn version of Dune, it would seem. We have a YDK, and let's check out the minor fleets. What do they got? They've got a YCC, 2 YCLs, a YDD, and 2 DDs, and 2 FFs. No, 4 FFs. Excuse me. 2 DDs, 4 FFs, ready to rock, locked and loaded, with a YDK supporting them, and 4 planetary ground bases. Hard target. Wonder if the Federation will be exercising their Vudar book of diplomacy with the Gorn. Only time will tell. And of course, let's not be distracted by this unknown wormhole hex. Long story short, the hotel wormhole has an outie, or a other side to that wormhole. Where it comes out, we don't know yet. So we'll have to see. All right, sliding along. We're just going to visit right back here to the Tholians. Yes, I do apologize. We did not discuss this stack of Tholian ships here. 1, 2, 3, 6 YDDs, 9 YDDs. Woo, 9 YDDs. And then there's also New Fleet. Let's look at Tholian New Fleet real quick. I feel like I missed out. Tholian New Fleet has, if we slide it in here, you can see it as a cruiser and an additional 4 DDs. So that was quite a battle that was fought. Was this all against the monster, Matt? Let us know if the Tholians fought the monster and lost, and that's why you are back to where you are. What battle did you fight that brought about that? I want to say it's probably Quark, being the fact that Quark, as you can see here, is devastated. We just talked about devastation and recovery, and it's literally just happened. So I have a feeling you attacked and destroyed a bunch of probably Vudar, and now are recovering from it. So interesting to note. Let's slide into the other king of the castle when it comes to EP. I'm taking a quick sip to lubricate. Oh, yeah. All right. All right, halfway through our coffee goal for today, little stimulation and motivation. If you're with us here at just past the 30-minute mark on this live stream, you're catching us on the replay, and you're at 30 minutes still engaged with what's going on, then put a comment with a note 31 minutes in and let me know your thoughts. I will read those comments and be very interested to hear your opinions. Boom! Ladies and gentlemen, Lost Muskrat has fired a coffee. Stimulated caffeine our way. Let's take a quick sip. That's right. That coffee keeps us lubricated, stimulated, and keeping you up to date with the latest and greatest news from the galactic boundary that is New Horizons. All right, let's zoom in here with a little bit of fleet cap and EP. We can see that the Carnarvon are at 60 EP, tying exactly in with our summary from before. The Carnarvon have 44, count them, four ships in their fleet with 100 attack, 199 defense, and a total fleet cap of 201. So far, the biggest fleet in the game. They certainly seem to be positioned for success. Interesting to note here in a second, the strategy they are employing and what's working so well for them. Okay, so a couple things here. If we zoom in, we can see, if I take away the ships real quick, you can see the perimeter of their territory. Notice the bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there a base there? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Magic number 13. Number of bases, not including their capital, of what they've built in this area. Also note the interesting pattern of distribution. Yes, you've got bases on top of these wormholes and gravity wells, but generally speaking, not a 2-hex base distribution. Always interesting to see that. So are they maximizing exploration? It would seem that that would be the case. There is a 2-hex distribution pattern over here on the east. Curious why the east and not the rest. That's probably just the supply tech they had at the time when they were expanding. That's my guess. Let's bring back the ships, and what do we see? You can tell just by a glance, the Carnarvon are employing all their ships to do exploration. Some of them, like this cruiser, have a prime team embark, which just improves the chances. So you've got a bunch of cruisers with prime teams. Why would they do that? Why not build just purpose-built survey ships? 2 reasons. They do have survey ships. You can see there's a couple YSRs here, so they certainly have them and can build them. But they're overpopulating, or rather building out their fleet, because when you start a war, that's too late to start building ships. You need them in advance. And if you are facing an opponent who has no fleet, and you do, and then you encounter them, you have a distinct advantage. speed of execution for your ability to prosecute that war and advance across their territory, and their inability to defend because they have a lack of units ready to deploy is a real distinct advantage. In this case, they are using that fleet. Whoa, ladies and gentlemen. It was the mystery antagonist who had fired a coffee. Cheers. My Hercule Poirot detective skills will have to be used to determine who exactly you are. We shall see. Let's take a quick sip. Not to fear, I will keep calm and carry on. All right. So, we have seen the Carnarvon populating a large fleet. They are using this large fleet to basically expand their borders. They have a lower chance of success, but way more kicks at the can because of the number of ships they have in play doing exploration. What does that mean? That means effectively they are exploring at a faster rate than purpose-built survey ships because there is generally speaking, probably a smaller number of those survey ships relative to the larger fleet. It's a guess. It's a hypothesis. We'll see how it goes. But so far, being number 2 on the economy scale and essentially number 1 on the military scale, I'd say they're doing pretty well. We have an interesting combination of things here. One, what is this derelict up in the corner? Do tell. Is it perhaps a, what's the term? I don't know why I'm forgetting the term. It is a Warhammer 40K massive ships Hulk. Is it a space Hulk that is randomly drifting through space and they will have to explore and encounter and figure out what it is? Perhaps. Is it an alien, a monster, a AI come to say hello? We'll get to that in a moment. But what is going on with these guys? In addition to that, they've got a little Orion hello that they've said bonjour to. And I'm curious, you have a crippled survey ship here. Is that because the Orions decided to poke back? And if that was the case, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to let those Orions push you around? Those dirty pirates? Or are you going to do something about it? Be curious to know. And lastly, I can see here the planet of Beam, a Gorn faction. Let's pull up their minor fleets. You can see that we have more than that. Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold up. Yes, there's a Romulan planet there, a Riemann planet I failed to see. Okay, let's pull this into the middle of the map and we can see. On the far right here, you can see there is a Gorn planet. I'll slide over a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. So they have 3rd Fleet, a YBS, and 4 planetary ground bases. It would seem that the Carnarvons have moved a diplomat there and are trying to be friendly. If we take away the ships and the bases, you can see that they are unfriendly at the moment, whereas the Riemanns are friendly. Interesting to note that. The Gorn, that is, have a W era battleship. Is like a W era dreadnought. It's terrible with a 3 attack, 6 defense, a YDD, and 2 YFS. However, the Riemanns a little bit more well equipped with 1 planetary ground base and a YBS. They have a command cruiser and cruiser. Interesting to note, the command cruiser is a 4.6, whereas the cruiser is only a 3.6, 2 destroyers at 2.4, and then a total of 4 frigates at 2.3. Now, based on the overall mass and size of the Carnarvon fleet, neither one of these two is really even a speed bump for them. However, as we talked about when it comes to incorporating planets into your economy, if you use the military to take them out, there is a price to pay. Devastation followed by recovery. Now, is that worth it in this case? Well, you can see that both of these planets, if we just take a look, this is a developing planet, this is a developing planet. When fully producing, these planets both produce 2 EP. So if you were to take them by force, you'd only be getting 1 EP for the foreseeable future. Not that much of a loss. The big advantage is supply. You take them peacefully, have them integrate into your empire, and they become a supply point. So, are they working that angle? Possibly. Interesting. We'll have to see how that evolves going forward. So we've got the Riemanns, the Gorn, the Derelict, and the Orions. But that's not all, folks. No. There's more. We slide over here. We will note the YFF that went through the gravity well. Now, what's particularly interesting about this YFF is previously it had detected other ships around it. Notice now there are none. We had hypothesized it was the hydrons. We had really good data suggesting it was the hydrons. But now we're not seeing anything. Why is that? Well, maybe if we go to, we'll hold the Borak for the end. If we go to the hydrons, we can find out. Before we dive into their map, let's do a quick little gander here. We can see that the hydrons are 42.5 EP, which ties in exactly with what we saw before. Fleet cap is 36 ship equivalents with 74 attack, 154 defense. Let's zoom in, and I'll focus in on this wormhole right here, which is the Alpha wormhole. I don't see anything. I see a wormhole, but I don't see any ships. But if we go back to these guys, wasn't this the wormhole we were seeing? Tony! I think perhaps what we're doing here is we're conflating two things. I made a mistake. I'm looking at this and I see this is the Bravo gravity well. It's easy to understand. The Carnivon are bathed in riches when it comes to wormholes. They have a gravity well, Bravo, but they have a two-way wormhole, Alpha. So they have their two-way wormhole Alpha, and you can see they have Wolfpack 2 here. Let's take a quick look at the Carnivon Wolfpacks. Ooh, Wolfpack 2 seems to have a total of 4 frigates, fully embarked, ready to go. 5 in the Hex with a YBS guard in the wormhole. So they're on the other side of that Alpha wormhole. It would seem that the Hydrons have a survey ship with an R&D team and nothing much else. So I'm curious, Hydrons and Carnivon, did you chat? Did you communicate? Was there any first contact? What is going on? I'm really curious if you shot at each other or if you're just talking. Let us know in the comments what happened. Of course, if you want to get the real skinny, you'll have to join us on our Discord channel at the Coffee and Discord tier. And then you can really hear the banter and the drama between these two players and see how that pans out. All right, let's dive a little bit more into what these silly Hydrons are doing. All right, you can see at the bottom here we've got a Riemann fleet that they are dealing with. Let's pull up that minor fleet. So the Riemanns have a W-era command cruiser, which is the 3DC+. It is a 4-5 ship. They also have a 4-5 KD3+, 2 destroyers, and 1, 2, 3, 4 frigates. So these are all basically W-era ships, interesting to note. But the Riemanns do have a pretty powerful and potent fleet. Note that the Hydrons have a diplomat here. They are friendly. The Riemanns are friendly to the Hydrons, and they are probably working that diplomatic angle to bring those Hydrons, or sorry, excuse me. Yeah, the Riemanns are trying to get the Hydrons on side. No, Hydrons are working on the Riemanns to bring them on side and incorporate them into their empire. We'll have to see how that works. Will the long game play out? Only time will tell. If you want to find out, then hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, and follow along as the story evolves. What else we got here? We've got Zinc and Xenon. We already know that these metal fleets are all about exploration. What I really like about the Hydrons is the use of their tugs. You can see here we've got a base built where Second Fleet is, and they're going 3 hexes out to be able to continue to expand. Now, remember, I'm the guy who's always trying to guess where you are on the map. So if I take away the bases and everything as distraction, what do we see here? And let's zoom out a little bit. What I see here is a player who's expanding pretty much in all directions. But if I bring the ships back, the concentration of exploration is very seriously up and to the west. There's a little bit to the east, very little to the south, mostly west and north. Why is that? Could it be because they are in the bottom right of the map? And if they are in the bottom right of the map, understanding when I think about the distribution of players in the map, because as players, we can see where everybody's capitals are, we just don't know who's who in the zoo. We have, as the story goes, we detected warp signatures or the use of warp technology across the galaxy. We just don't know where they are, or sorry, who they are as their location. So if I think about this, and the distribution on the map is essentially 3 in the bottom, 3 in the top, and 2 and 2. Okay. So if the hydrons are in the bottom right, and I think the Lyrans are probably center bottom, does that mean the Lyrans and the hydrons are going to bump into each other? We already know that the Carnivons can potentially say hello to the hydrons. Where are the Carnivons in the map? Who knows? So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out between 3 potential factions that could bump into each other at any time. Remember what I said about the 6 to 8 hexes? Let's count out from the capital. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have players on the, potentially, to the left of the hydrants that are over 10 hexes explored to the east. The hydrants are exploring nearly 10 hexes to the west. I feel like there's a bump, like someone's going to bump into somebody really soon. But again, only time will tell. We'll have to see what happens and what sensor readings pop up. And right on that border where I'm thinking they are going to potentially bump into each other, you've got the Carnivons with that alpha wormhole. I'm really curious to see how that three's a company. Try that again. 2's company, 3's a crowd. I'm really curious to see how that three's a crowd interaction is going to go. Or is it going to be more like our favorite 80s television show with John Ritter, 3's company? The question is, who's John Ritter in that calculation? I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. Well, that is the hydrants. So let's, we've talked about first contact between the hydrants and the Carnivon. We've discussed the various exploration patterns and where everyone else is in the map. Now let's take a minute and talk about the Borak. Yes, the boys in blue, not the Federation, are floating around at the lowest economy in the game at 35. Oh, so disappointing. They do have a fleet cap, however, of 12 ships with 34 attack, 83 defense. And you can see that their fleet cap is a little bit more at 86 because they had a little bit of an encounter. Well, what happened? What happened here on this interesting and delectable event? I will share with you right now. So out of the darkness, through the fog of war, at the very edge of explored Borak territory, there came a signal, a detection of not 1 but 2 ships breaking through the mist. They were identified initially as raiders. And so the Borak Navy sallied forth to check them out, keeping in mind that the Borak are an incorporated entity. To be able to, our main focus is commerce and trade, and the commercial competitiveness of our technology and economy with those around us. And so looking for any opportunity to be able to leverage that economic or technological advancement is our primary focus. So these visitors to our space were potential customers and or trading stakeholders or partners that we could engage in. So upon arriving into the sector where these 2 strange ships appeared, we opened hailing frequencies and said the following. Unidentified vessels, welcome to Borak Incorporated Empire Space, the BIE. Please stand by for routine inspection. Our captain would also like to invite your ship captains aboard for refreshments and to discuss commercial opportunities. Please advise of any assistance you may require. As we awaited our response to the message, there was static for a long while, followed by some kind of modulated beeps and tweets. The Unitrans, patent pending, struggles to make sense of the sounds, but there doesn't seem to be any sense to it. The closest analog the Unitrans could find was a recording of an old acoustic modem from centuries ago. Sensors then show a massive spike in transport energy coming from the ship and the appearance of a large sphere about twice the size of a heavy transport shuttle 10,000 kilometers to the starboard of the ship. No object this large has ever been transported by technology that you're aware of. The sphere's readings are odd. Sensor pings do not seem to bounce off of it. Only optical sensor readings register the device. The strange hissing and chirping comes once again, stronger this time, from the spherical object. So naturally our response was tactical analysis. Weapons? The tactical officer quickly keys in various commands and responds with, they seem to be armed entirely with phaser 2s or some analog thereof. Meanwhile, over the comms, the hiss and beeps continue to come from the sphere. Science, try and record and repeat that signal back to it. See if there's a response. Our computer systems can't seem to make heads or tails of it, Captain. Your Unitrans, patent pending, confirms that it is requesting a low bandwidth handshake. Oh, yes, the captain says. Okay. Aboard the command cruiser, dispatch one heavy cruiser to conduct the handshake. Ensure that the computer is air-gapped from other ship systems and closely monitor. With a little maneuvering and a little technological button hitting, a connection is made. The air-gapped computer begins to operate at a furious speed. Science personnel observe that it is operating well beyond its design parameters and seems to be hijacked. You briefly see a strange symbol appear on the screen, and then the computer catches fire. The sphere releases a cloud of missiles, and combat begins. The formation commander says, activate fire suppression systems, red alert, and combat begins. So in this particular combat, there were 5 heavy cruisers with a command cruiser commanding. There were 2 of these unknown AI-controlled auxiliary raider cruisers, whatever we want to call them. After combat, we suffered minor damage with one cruiser being crippled, and we destroyed both of these vessels. We recovered all their wreckage and have submitted it to our research and science teams to deconstruct, reverse engineer, and understand where these folks came from and what it is they were trying to do. All I can say is that whatever was going on with that computer, the computer was undergoing some form of electronic metamorphosis. What it was turning into, who knows? The technology that was being used, unknown. Who were these AI raiders, these otherworldly visitors? We can't tell. We don't know. The question is, will the other players find out? I'll leave you to think about that while we revisit the map. All right, let's take a look. We did the EP and the fleet cap. We know that the Borak are still the weakest economically and militarily in the game, but let's take a quick look. You can see here White Dragon fleet is my big bad fleet in the area, and as we pull up the Borak Incorporated Empire, you can see that White Dragon has a total of 4 cruisers with 1 crippled, hence the 5 cruisers, 1 crippled, and the command cruiser commanding. We'll call them the Batwing as per the shape of their ships, and they have returned back to this wormhole to protect it and conduct repairs at the YBS that is there. You can see here that the R&D team is moving towards this YDK shortly, where our wreckage has been remitted to for research and development and study. This YSR, unfortunately, was unable to reach the uninvited visitors just based on range, but it will continue to conduct exploration and survey in the area. If we take away the ships real quick, you can see that the base construction is pretty poor for the Borak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll call it 6 if you include that a YDK is basically 2 YBSs, and of course this YBS here. So a total of 6 bases with 1 YDK. Not including the stuff that's at the capital. trying to do our best to be able to expand and broaden our horizons. And you can see here a couple tugs, one standing by to build a base, one providing extended supply, hence these ships going out and exploring. This unclaimed resource is at the edge of supply. Once a base fixed supply point in the area is established, we'll be able to claim that resource. So really not much to say about the Borak other than you will note that the strategy that was discussed in a previous live stream where we were pivoting away from the strong research and development science focus and rather pivoting towards a more security-oriented and military industrious development is currently underway. We have now 3 YSRs in operation with more being built every year. There is obviously a clear payoff for the White Dragon fleet, which money was invested in to generate to be able to deal with our space sharks. They were the ones employed to be able to deal with our AI visitors. Without them, who knows what would have happened? And certainly that AI menace could have possibly hijacked and taken over fleet assets. And who knows where that would have led? Certainly a disruptive influence and total collapse of our economic system should it have gone too far. Perhaps an existential threat as the AI would have steadily taken over and expanded through our population. But no, our security forces were able to neutralize that threat before it even got close to any of our population centers. How will other players encounter and deal with such a menace? We'll have to see. What do you think? Do you think that the Borak dealt with that effectively? Should there have been something else that we could have done? What do you think the rewards were or will be from deconstructing and analyzing the wreckage? I'm curious on your thoughts. All right, let's slide back into the chat and check in with our friends. All right, I'm going to pop out this chat, take a look and see what's going on. From the top, or from our last coffee, I should say, we've got Daniel making some comments. Pew pew. Robin, I'm thinking we're chasing a wisp. One's a gravity well, the other is a wormhole. Yes, Robin, that was me going down a rabbit hole, it would seem. Alice in Wonderland in space, you might say. Eugene, thumbs up. That's right, everybody. Hit that thumbs up. We're at double digits for concurrent viewers. Let's hit double digits for the likes as well. Paul says, I have met these nice ships. 2, they were not friendly at all. I think perhaps that's 1, have met these nice ships. 2, they were not friendly at all. What? Yeah, possibly. Daniel says, what did the strange symbol you saw on the computer look like? Oh, speaking of which, I can share with you what the symbol looked like. Stand by. It's a very strange symbol. Stand by. Boom. I'm going to bring it over to my main screen, and you will be able to take a look at this bizarre symbol. Does it mean anything to you? Let's slide over and take a look. What does that mean? Do you know what it means? Do you know from where these come from? I have a feeling I know. Do you know? Are you a fan of the Starfleet universe and recognize what the symbol is? If you do, put it in the chat in the comments below and let me know what you think this bad boy is. All right, so that was the symbol. The question is, what is it? What are they doing, and how are they going to impact the game going forward? All right. What else we got here? We've got, so George is in the house. Paul is here. Matt Westmoreland is in the house. Charles Pop, don't poke into my space or the claws come out. I'm assuming that's a little Lyran action. Or maybe, oh, Chuck, are you the Carnivon? Yes. Robin had to remove an oppressive government from the people of Tuon. That's the Vudar, always the Vudar. And Tony missed the stack of cripples in the Tholian homeworld, but we went back and revisited that. Quark devastated, oui. Do coffees have been fired? First contact. I wonder what happened. Indeed. What has happened between the Carnivon and the Hydrants? Do tell. Don't be modest. Let us know what's going on. Paul says, I had 4 frigates encounter them. I put my encounter narrative in Discord. So if you want to see the story behind the encounter between these unknown vessels, then you're going to have to join us at the Coffee and Discord tier and check that out. Yes. All right. Well, let's restore the chat and carry on. All right, we're at the 1 hour mark. What do you think so far? Was this something that was worth your while? If so, be like Dan, hit that subscribe button, give us the thumbs up, and tickle the YouTube algorithm in just the right way. If you're wanting to take it to the next level, then you can head over to Coffee and join us at the Coffee and Discord tier, or just fire a quick photon blast of caffeinated goodness to keep us lubricated and stimulated and giving you all the right information at the right time as you want it. Quick sip. All right, folks. Well, that is it for today. We're going to be sliding into our Discord for some follow-up days as the world turned, days of our lives, kinds of bitter banter. If you want to join us there, you know what to do. Other than that, I will see you next week on this live stream show at 11 o'clock on Saturday, where we will most likely be catching up with our Splintered Will campaign. Remember, 3 of them going concurrently. We're going back and forth between Splintered Will and New Horizons most recently. What do you think? Which game is the most exciting for you? The one where everyone's got lots of money and crazy things are happening? Or is it the suspense-thrilled crawl through the dark that is New Horizons, where AI seem to come out of the shadows and poke you in just the right way? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.